I'm good. How are you?
Nice to
Good.
see
It's really
you.
nice to see you.
Yeah, it's a busy time. It's always
That's
a
a
busy
good thing.
time.
It is, but
Yeah.
it is a really busy time. We were just talking about that here, I'm just going to let Emily in. Um, like it always comes in waves, ebbs and flows, and it certainly seems after PDAC
Oh,
up until letting Jill in, up until the end of June is usually an extremely hectic time.
hmm
Families, professional life.
Yeah, all of the above.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, all
As
the follow-up from PDAC. Yeah.
Right. And all the usual stuff that you're already balancing. It's just, yeah. But
hmm
however, thankfully, like, the sun comes out more. It's warming up a bit.
Hopefully, not right now, but
Oh, it's getting there. It's getting there. Well, it's nice to see you.
yeah, you too.
So there's a nice opportunity for, RMG. That
Yes.
Eric, right? Like that's so great. We were hope they can do it. That's awesome. Nice. Okay. Should we just go ahead? Nice to see. Who else have we got? Beautiful face. Emily. Lovely to see Emily and Jill. And then some Erica as always and some AIs are with us taking taking notes.
yeah.
Just
So
let
you
them
want
know
me to
that.
be your hype woman, get you set up, and then you can take it away?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I
I want
like
you to
doing
just
that.
asking me questions. Yes, you're awesome at it. Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us. This is session 5 of our member learning session. We're now sort of pivoting the brand to core Artemis wisdom because we know that we have in our midst this incredible resource in the form of someone who has built businesses, who has scaled companies, who has taken innovation through unprecedented things. First of all, earlier in her career in the tech industry and now later in her career looking at women in mining. And we're now all the beneficiaries of that as women in mining, as Artemis members. And I feel like part of my job has been, how do I distill Heather's wisdom, her brilliance, her essence that makes her so successful in what she does, and bottle it and get it to the members? How do I do that? Your dog wants to know too. So
Sorry about that.
no, it's fine. So I think this is a really exciting question. It's a kind of an interesting thought experiment to say, what if we could take the essence of everything that Heather knows about B2B sales, about building relationships, about just having resilience and being a woman in a male dominated space and being resilient and building, and coming through, obstacles to succeed anyway. How could we bottle that? So there's a lot of mechanics, and that's what we've dealt with so far in our series, right? We talked about pricing, which is a huge one. That's one of my favorites. We talked about the art of the follow-up. This is a skill that I definitely did not have. Maybe some of you didn't either. We talked about different sales, account management, a lot of systems and frameworks and processes. And lots of us that were trained technically really like that stuff. That occurs to us as the nitty gritty. And that's where we're going to find success, right? We follow the steps and then we enjoy the success. That is true. I think a lot of this is about mechanics, and there's definitely some great techniques that Heather has shared with us over the years that are working for those of you that are sitting on the call here or that have worked already in your businesses. However, there is this other thing. There's this intangible thing. And in my line of work, we might call this culture. We might call it energy. We might call it a vibe in a workplace, kind of a feel that isn't just about following the steps. It's not just about statistics. It's really about something else that you can feel. So we're going to go a little more into that, I guess, off script or outside the beaten path of what many business coaches or sales coaches, business development specialists might be talking about. We're going to go into the realm of what does Artemis feel like? How does she think? How does she operate? And we have, of course, the Greek goddess Artemis to tap into. I love a good archetype, and we're going to go into that. We're going to go there today. And Heather and I would really like to sort of paint that picture, if you're not already intimately familiar with Artemis, who she is and what she symbolizes, how she feels, how she shows up in the world, we want to also ground that in the everyday minutia of what that means for you as a woman in business dealing with mining companies. How do we ground this ideal thing and make it something very tangible that you can carry with you and be energized by it and be nurtured by it and be sort of accompanied by it day to day? So that's what we're going to do today. That's what we're going to unpack here, the spirit of Artemis and how that looks and feels. And I want you to feel very free to pop your questions or feedback in the chat as we go. We want to make this relevant. If you're wondering it, if you're thinking it, I'm sure other Artemis members will too. They will have access to the recording. And just be aware, if you choose to come off mic and speak to us, your words will be recorded and will be viewed by others. So as long as you're okay with that, we would love to hear from you live. However, the chat is great too if you want to chime in and get us to answer any questions or give you any perspectives that will be live here today. So yeah, Heather, I'm going to throw it over to you and just see where you want to take this.
Yeah, that's a really great intro, Eric. You're so awesome at that. And setting context and setting that stage. And certainly, you know, when I think about, we've all come such, you know, we're all evolving every single day and moving along. And I've, you know, just sharing some thoughts of what I've seen and what I've experienced. And, because there is this extreme amount of joy, the circumstances you could be in, and not to be frivolous in any way. However, we know there's really tough times that life throws curveballs at you. And they're tough and they're unexpected and they're chaotic and at the time. And what I've really come to so appreciate and feel such gratitude around is the fact that more than, and certainly in, you know, previous years of my life, I wanted to have extreme highs. Like, oh, I want to, you know, be on extreme highs. And you also have extreme lows. And yet there's this incredible sense of serenity and peace in being more even keel and finding this area of contentedness despite what's going on the outside. And certainly we know, as you know, we preface that and what you're getting ready, I'm just letting Suzanne in, the times, although they feel very chaotic and uncertain, I feel that about life most times. I mean, there's different escalation points, but there's so much uncertainty. And to be able to go through that uncertainty and harness the learnings, so many learnings, and harness that evolution of yourself, and to come to a point where joy is your companion. Again, despite the turbulent times, the turmoil we're going through. And I mean turbulent times, even when you're waiting for an email response from a client, you know, you're thinking that might cause you to question yourself and self-doubt, and yet it has absolutely nothing to do with you. It's all timing. So even in, you know, as you talked about operationalizing this day to day, I think there's an incredible opportunity for us to know and to evolve towards this path of purpose. Is that's one thing I see a common thread amongst all the Artemis members. It's beyond business as usual. It's beyond this traditional business paradigm. There is a deep rooted purpose. And I think that's a real opportunity, especially for women. There's a deep instinctual knowing of what they need to do at what time. And I think we're here together to help one another bring that out in all of us, in all of the ways that we create our community, interact, and learn from one another. And I never would have thought that, you know, I don't know, 7 years ago. 7-year phases. But I never would have.
Oh, that's interesting, Heather. It's been 7 years since you started Artemis, right? It's 2018.
Yeah. And really the getting all the experience with the Business Accelerator and working with all kinds of different women entrepreneurs. And it's just, and then certainly Artemis has been, I really, when I think about Artemis, I think I want all of you women just to soar to places that you never even thought possible, because that's what life is here to have, unfold for us and with us and alongside us. And I want to be a part of that and do whatever I can. It's not my responsibility, but contribute in whatever value I can bring. And I think that's just, I don't know, it's so liberating. It's so meaningful. And it's not looking at business that I used to look at business.
Heather, I did not see this coming, but I'm actually getting a little emotional here. I can feel the heart of what you're sharing here, and it's so beautiful. It's so generous. And I just feel so lucky, and I'm guessing the people watching the replay, maybe the people here live are just feeling that it's a sense of awe, really, for the way that you're choosing to use what you have and sharing it with us and letting us be the recipients of that. Lots of us have positive intentions and we say we want to help, right? But really finding those ways to do it in such a powerful way. It's just beautiful. It's really, really tremendous.
Well, I think we feed each other. I never, ever would imagine I'm working with you incredible women in mining. Not in 1,000 million years, ever. And I think, how did that come about? And then so we feed each other through the, whatever we're on together. And for some reason in Artemis, there is this really strong allyship. That's what I see. And I see it maybe a bit more because I'm going to move my dog in here. Sorry for him. This allyship is, I'm sit in the center with you, Erica, and we see this with the members. The way we interact with one another, we're kind, we're gentle, we're curious, all these incredible traits that I just think, oh my gosh, I don't even think the members realize this incredible spirit they already have in there, and they bring it out amongst each other at the right time. And so I want us, I just think Artemis has such an energy to bring that out to more, and especially women, because that's my thing, to more women, and really unleashing them and unlocking them and enabling them to follow in what you're doing.
Love that. Okay, I have a few tactical questions, which I think is great. It's going to really ground things here for the people watching the replay and here live. And again, for those who just joined us, please feel free to jump into the chat if you have observations, if you want to reflect on what you're hearing, or if you have questions that you want to ask Heather. You are welcome to come off mute and chat as well. Just be aware that you'll be on the recording. So if you're cool with that, we are cool with that too. I have been capturing some of the takeaways, Heather. I've been popping them in the chat so people can see them, and we're getting hearts on them. So clearly this is resonating with others as well. We're all really feeling the love. And I know before I joined the core team and had the opportunity to receive as much part of you as I do now in my current role, I often found it honestly a little hard to take in. I'm like, she can't be for real. She can't be this enthusiastic. She can't be this honestly, I think of myself as a very positive person. But it was a little hard to take in. So I just want to share that to say that I think that there is a tolerance for good things that we need to build to. Sometimes we need to be ready to receive. We need to be ready to trust that these things are really available to us and that they're really real. And I know some of you on the call are, quite a few years into your Artemis journey. Some are just at the beginning. So wherever you are, I'm wondering if that spirit of being able to receive, because I know I have to practice this with my clients too, certainly as a practice of learning how to receive more money. I'm now working on charging more to my clients, and being comfortable with that, feeling I deserve it, feeling confidence in that. I feel like there's a practice and a skill there. Do you think that Artemis is good at receiving? Like, can you talk to us about like how that wisdom and that Greek goddess energy kind of applies in business? Can you unpack that for us a little more?
Well, in thinking about that, I think women in general it's very difficult to receive. And certainly, again, broad generalizations, but we're often, I believe, brought up to be tamed, be heightened, be rigid about the roles that we're expected to play, please other people, look out for others, all about others, and all that. And I feel that that's still very prevalent. And while that, great, for me, that just isn't, I went down that path and I found that it really was physically and mentally a disturbing path for me. And I, uncovered that it really wasn't. It was about finding purpose and meaning in your own life. But how do you do that? Going inside to that, what I refer to as the wild woman, the instinctual woman that society tries to calm and keep under control, and don't say too much, don't take up too much space. And I think, let her loose, let her be wild. It's just incredible to what women can accomplish. So, I think that's really, really important to recognize that there's a lot of stuff that comes at us externally trying to paint the path of our lives. And I really, really encourage and hope that we're able to learn what's inside of us and bring that out with knowing and therefore receiving what is going to come to you when you do get on that path of purpose. And again, not that everything is easy. That's not my message at all. Life, again, throws a lot of curveballs. However, you can do it in a way, like Erica, what you're saying, you still can do it in gratitude, in joy, and seeing how everything weaves together. These fragments of your life weave together this tapestry that by when you do get to 62, you're able to look back, certainly in my experience, and see a path.
Mm-hmm.
And how all those pieces fit together, even though you didn't see it at the time. And so that trusting. And I think we're really often taught to not trust, to self-doubt, to question. Show me again. You think about again, more analysis. When in fact that I think it's that instinctual nature of women that is so needed. Certainly in mining, in the world today. Yeah.
Gosh, that's great. There's so much I want to pick up on there, Heather. I think I want to go back to the wild woman. I feel like this is the right time to have that conversation. I mean, okay, I'll speak for myself as an engineer, kind of came of age and chose a more analytical, linear, mostly male profession pretty calculatedly. I think I wanted things to be clear. I wanted things to be certain. I knew I wanted to have a marketable degree. And I was like, this is how I fit in. This is how I prove myself. I do this very quote unquote male thing. Now, little did I know that engineering is highly social and needs that creative, and it needs that. It's very based on empathy and all of these other things that are supposedly not in line with that sort of, I'll put male in quotation marks again, that male way of thinking. However, what you're talking about is really learning to tap into a different side of ourselves. One is that is a bit chaotic and outspoken, and practically speaking, we can't just let that out all the time. We won't get sales calls and we won't get deals. Like, we need to have some, right? So,
yeah.
Where does the wild woman fit in, and why is she important, do you think?
I think the wild woman, part of being a wild woman is understanding balance. Balance is really important. And exactly, it's not saying that we go out and beat our chests and act like these crazed whatever we would be then thought. Maybe that would be good in some circumstances. However, I think it's more about really understanding, really accepting what's inside of you and directing you and knowing that's enough. You don't have to question. You don't have to look for validation. You don't have to. You can just, if that's a strong instinct of yours, you do it. You know, whether that's hiring people in your business, you have to take chances, as we all know, being entrepreneurs. So where do those chances come from? Where do those, you know, those risks come from that you're making those decisions all the time as entrepreneurs? And so many people can, but you know, it can bog people down. It can be very complex. It can be very demotivating. However, at the same time, when you go inside and you know something and you do it, and you start working that muscle. It's like a muscle, just like your positive attitude is a muscle. The more you use it, your instinct, that deep instinct, the more you use it, and not necessarily looking for that external validation in often places that you'll never ever need it or get it anyhow.
Wow. Okay. You just laid out a whole bunch of wisdom there for us, Heather, and I'm capturing it in the chat. So knowing that you and what you have to offer is enough. Sort of as a baseline, and then exercising that self-trust to execute effectively on what we know we need to do, what we see the client needs, for example, trust in that and take action on that. Go for it and bring them along with you, because you're right.
You know.
That's kind of wild, right? Like staying in that energy all the time. I don't stay in that energy all the time, but I'm kind of trying it on for size right now. Feels pretty good.
It does. And when I think about when I first started Artemis, I just used that because no one told me to go after mining, and no one told me, oh my goodness, these mining leaders are dying to do business with women entrepreneurs. Nobody was, that pull wasn't there. And in fact, when I look back, I think, where did I even get that notion to put all this, however, it was something instinctual. And then when I think exactly what you're saying, when it's instinctual and you go for it, and then a little bit of positiveness happens, that's when the magic really occurs. Cause it's like, okay, I'm on a path of something here. Yeah. And so even when you get the down times, and because we all get them, and you may have expectations that you're not where you want to be at that particular time, it's okay. Yeah.
I love that. I'm hoping that lots of you are putting together, this is why Heather does what she does and says what she says and is how she is, because this is what's going on inside her more often. And do you think you were born with this, Heather, or did you have to work at it?
I don't know what this is, really. And I really don't. And because whatever it is, it's so natural to me. Natural in when I get an idea with some level in my mind that I need to do this, I just do it. And that's leaving home at a very early age, because I had a very difficult childhood. It's doing things when I look back that were really quite unorthodox at the time, unexpected. And yet each one build your character, as we know, right? Every experience, all the adventures, all the time, everything, all the time, good, bad, and the ugly, build you to who you are. And I just see you Artemis women as just incredible women who have all built your endurance, your resilience, and you have great sense of humors about life, and you take it in with that, serious but not serious. You all seem like you're part of something bigger to me, and I just love hanging around you and thinking all the time, what can we do more together?
I love that, Heather. And I
Mm-hmm.
do, that was a little bit of an unfair question I'm asking you, of like, were you born with it? Who knows, right? But I guess I'm just trying to reverse engineer
Mm-hmm.
a little bit, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
this is what I also want for our members, is to tap into that energy and feel it and know it and use it to propel you toward whatever it is that you're creating in your personal life even, and definitely in your
Totally.
business. I do believe something you touched upon and modeled for us there for a minute is a choice, which is choosing to believe that we have come through
So
difficult
important.
situations. We
Mm-hmm.
don't see ourselves as a victim of circumstance. We don't
Oh,
hang on to that. We hang on to, I got the gift of the opportunity to live in that circumstance, and now look at me and look at where I'm going. And I feel like that's a bit of a superpower, I think, and maybe something we can all try on for size, of learning how to be a fan of your own life, be proud of your story, revel in everything you've come through. You know, you got dirt under your fingernails, you've got battle scars, and you're
mm-hmm.
amazing for it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And there's the essence of Artemis. A never a victim. Never, ever, ever. Whatever situation, a victor. That's hokey. It's from, that saying is from, one of the a pastor from a large, church in the United States that I used to follow, because I love that line. Never a victim, always a victor. And that's an essence of Artemis trait for sure. Whatever the circumstance, you hit it. You got it.
Yeah, I love that you're mentioning the church, even, Heather, and I see we do have a hand up, so we'll go to you, Emily, in just a second. But I want to just quickly say that I feel like this is a system or an energy that translates into all kinds of religions or personal beliefs. Like, this isn't excluding anyone, right, on the basis of their culture. I hope it's not anyway. We definitely want, I think it would be highly on brand for us, right, to represent something that does allow people of all different backgrounds and traditions to feel welcome and find their own home inside of it. I think that's
Absolutely.
another really beautiful thing I like about Artemis and the community that we have. For sure. Okay. Let's go to Emily, and then I think we might be wrapping up pretty soon after that, because we want to make sure everybody's time is well used. Go ahead, Emily.
Thank you so much, and so wonderful to hear all the excellent stories. I hope you can capture what's in the chat, maybe, and share those, Erica, with everyone. I think those are great nuggets of wisdom. Just wanted to, I guess, for the benefit of the Artemis members, I would say one of the longer term Artemis members, our company, and Heather very early on, had the push for 1 million for all the Artemis businesses. And I think that Heather, even if we're not all, like, I'm not quite as wild, I would say, as you, Heather.
You are incredibly wild.
Well, in some ways, yes, innovative, etc. But anyways, maybe more traditional versus, but anyways, so I'm just trying to say, for some of the Artemis members who maybe are not quite as wild as Heather, I think what we can really leverage from Heather and also Erica, your leadership, is your belief in us. And I think, as a entrepreneur, it can be sometimes lonely. You're at the top, and you don't necessarily, if you have not yet got a senior management team around you, which I think is the case for many of us, most of us probably, then, it might be you and more junior employees, and they can't have those strategic discussions. They can't help you with your growth plan, etc. I think Thorne Associates, Heather's belief in all of the Artemis businesses that we could achieve the 1 million and beyond was instrumental to our, phenomenal growth over 3 years of triple digit growth. So I think that, we haven't been able to sustain that because that's, but anyways, I think for all Artemis businesses, just knowing that Heather believes in each and every one of you and your businesses, and I think is really powerful. And it just takes that one person who believes you can get to 1 million, who, believes. I had another person say, oh, you can do this board governance course, even though I was really busy. And it just took her like counting on me to say that I could do it, to be like, okay, yeah, I'll make the time. I'll find the evenings and I'll do the training in the evenings and I'll get it done. So I just wanted to share that with the Artemis businesses. Thank you, Heather.
Oh, thank you, Emma. That's so beautiful. I'm so happy you've done so well. Like, it's so happy to see progress for you and your business and your team, and then that extend and how you're infectious to other members. Like, it's just been phenomenal. Just incredible.
I agree, Heather. It's such, and you could, like, the engineer in me wants to point out that this is a feedback loop, right? This is a positive feedback loop that begins with a belief and an experiment and a premise that something is possible. And then it starts to happen. And then we strengthen our belief in it by going, oh, now we have evidence for it. And we can bring that back around, to show that it always was possible, but there is a certain type of person who can see what is possible before it becomes material in the world. That we use the term visionary a lot.
There you go. I was just thinking of that. Exactly. And you all
and again,
are.
I not identify yourself as a visionary depending on your own, personal story, but I think it is really beautiful to think how we can bring together our collective subject matter expertises, each of us in our own little zone of genius, right? As part of this bigger picture, and how not only is it possible, but it's working, it's happening. And I think that, like, choosing to see that, making that something that you apply, like you put sunscreen on in the morning, like you put your shoes on and you go for a walk or you go to the gym, like, it's a discipline, it's a choice to see that and to continue to be fed by that, because it helps you. I don't know what the word is, Heather, but I feel like maybe you do it naturally. Maybe some of us have to work at least so far in life. But it is, I feel like it is accessible. It makes me really excited and really cool.
I have to work at it every day. There's lots of times I can find myself, gosh,
good. Okay.
Yes. Self-talk is like, get back on track. But for sure, but we work together. And, you said it, Erica, it's how all this Artemis energy from all of us, we can, pull it together and consolidate it. And how do we even take it to the next level? You and I talked about, we really believe it's time for a revolution in mining. Enough of the old boys mining life, like, enough. How do we get that number of women in there? This is enough. We need something far more than what's being done today. And we talked about a revolution. I love that, what that looks like. So who knows, but there's something
inspired by a Beatles song, but we're going for it.
Something by that big collective Artemis energy as well. That's really exciting for me on day to day to see it unfold and imagine the unimaginable. Yeah, so this is really cool. It was really nice spending time with all of you. Eric,
so amazing
facilitator.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. Thank you, everyone who's showing up. You're feeding us good energy as well as we're having this conversation. And thank you, if you're watching the replay, for taking the time. Heather, I want to get you to tell us one more thing before we wrap up. I know we wanted to keep it kind of on the concise side. Tell us why Artemis. What inspired the name? I'm sure we've heard the story a few years ago, but I just love to take us back to that little seed of an origin story and where that inspiration came from. I feel like you're going to have a really, really, really deep, beautiful explanation to end us up today.
It's such an origin story. So I just happened to have the very first proposal I ever did for Artemis. And it was actually, because this is about the title, I'm getting there. It's
Partners
called
in Prosperity.
in Prosperity, Social Capital Leadership for the Mining and Metals Industry. Okay. So that was this is the blueprint, hard copy, blah, 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 blueprint of Artemis member and a sponsorship package that I was doing. And my first pitch was to Deloitte and Barrick. So I did this sponsorship package, and all I can say is, I called it. So I need a name. So my name was Capacity Building, Close the Gender Gap in Mining and Metals. I didn't have a name, and I'm very corporate, and still that was my heritage. So I have to have something very corporate, very Deloitte-ish sounding. Right. So anyhow, I went in with all these different types of big, long corporate names on this proposal. And I want to share with you the first thing they said to me, this is how mining is changed. Social off of capital. Mining leaders are not looking to enhance their social capital. And now ESG is like, pretty serious out there, and we've seen a whole turnaround. So I think that's interesting to note. That was only 7 years ago, or less than 7 years ago, actually. And then, so anyway, so all I did was these corporate names. So I wasn't coming up with a name. My very few first members that I had in Chile, because that's how I started a pilot with Chile, Barrick did sponsor us. And it was the Chilean gals that said, you're coming up with really boring names for these projects that we're doing. We're not boring. And you're presenting us as boring. We're not the IBM, the International Business Machine. We are the Apple. We are the rebels. And so therefore, we want you to consider calling us Artemis. I didn't come up with the name. The members did.
Wow. I love that.
And at the time, Artemis, well, who's Artemis? What's an Artemis? I didn't know a goddess from like an ungod. I didn't know what goddesses were or nothing.
Oh,
and
wow.
What? Artemis? What in hell what are you thinking? You want me to go talk to mining CEOs about a goddess named Artemis? And they said, yeah, we do. We feel they felt very aligned with that essence of Artemis and being indomitable, persistent, being that, victor all the time. And so I said, okay, let's go Artemis. That's how
I love that, Heather. Thank you for sharing that, because I think that reveals your receptivity, which we talked about earlier in this conversation, and feeling that energy and going with it. Just as a final share for everyone, I did put a book recommendation in the chat if anyone's interested in diving deeper into the goddess archetypal sort of side of these things. And I'll just read a little piece of this because I think it's pretty awesome. Worshipped in ancient Greece as a protectress of young girls, Artemis was the goddess of hunting, nature, and chastity, the original wild woman. In Artemis, the book here, our author revives the goddess Artemis to reclaim female passion and persistence to survive and succeed. We are all goddesses, and an indomitable spirit isn't just reserved for the gods. So there's lots of really interesting, juicy stuff, historical stuff for those who enjoy that, and also just, more data points, I hope, and more opportunities to feel into the energy of what we're talking about. And it struck me when I was doing a little bit of pre-reading for this conversation, Heather, the piece about protecting young girls. I hadn't really made that connection before. As a mom of daughters, that really resonates with me. Of course, it probably does with lots of us, even if you don't have daughters, and thinking about the next generation and the ways that we're changing the world for them. Artemises are such a beautiful expression of that protective, fierce, grown-up woman spirit that is making the world better for everyone, especially the young girls. So that was just a new facet of the Artemis spirit that came through for me that I really, really enjoyed and found so relevant and so meaningful.
Yeah, and so maybe there's so much of Artemis about the forest and other things too. I've come to learn about Artemis.
There you go.
I actually feel even I embody her. So it's pretty incredible how things come about. I commune with her. Yes, I even had hounds. So she's often seen in the forest with hounds. So yeah, it's lots for us to learn and discover together. That's for sure. And that's a great idea about the book. Awesome. Yeah, well, it's beautiful, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing. And, lastly, I just want to say, we live in peace as much as possible, not pressure. And live on, trust, not your timelines. And really you will find in those hectic times, as I think Michelle started out with saying, it's busy times. It sure is. And it will be busy till July. But we don't want you to feel pressure doesn't help any of us. So no matter what's going on, you're exactly on path. You're living your purpose, and we're all having more fun together. So thank you for that opportunity.
Beautiful. Thank you,
Okay.
Heather.
Okay,
Thank you,
Erica.
everybody.
Erica, you'd be such a great talk show host. Seriously, right? Like just amazing.
I told you I wanted to be a journalist when I was a kid. That was one of my things. Journalist.
Yeah, well, I just see you're such an incredible facilitator, though. And I see anyway.
Very kind. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have to start a talk show for you. Bye.
I'm here
Thank
for
you.
it. I get to talk to all
I know
of you.
you are.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.